Hi, today I'm going to be talking about the history of the disability rights movement. Let's get into it. You're probably wondering, what exactly is the disability rights movement? The disability rights movement was a global social movement that wanted to gain equal opportunity and equal rights for all people with disabilities. Decades after World War I, people started to exercise their rights to improve society. The first post-war movement was the civil rights movement, which encouraged people to continue to fight for the right of individuals with disabilities. The first major event in the disabilities rights movement was in 1973 and called Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act. This act gave people with disabilities more job opportunities and enhanced their place in society. 2 years later, another major event happened in 1975. Education for All Handicapped Children Act was made into a federal law to support special education and related services programs for children and youth with disabilities. Several years later, it was renamed the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, IDEA for short, in 1990. When the education system realized that the act should be based off of the individual instead of the fact that they have a disability. This act required that an individual education plan must be in place for each student who was determined to need special education services because of their physical or mental disability. The next event took place in Denver, Colorado in 1978. Wade Blake and 14 young adults with disabilities realized that public transportation in their town was inaccessible. On July 5, 1975, Wade Blake and the Group of 19 protested for 2 days straight, blocking off roads with their bodies. The event eventually led to all buses in their city being wheelchair accessible. After this action, people all across the world and other cities heard about what Wade and the Group of 19 did and wanted to make the same changes in their city. They did this by following their lead and started protesting. This led to the formation of the Americans Disabled for Accessible Public Transportation Act, which was an act passed that made public transportation in every city wheelchair accessible. In 1986, an act that prohibits commercial airlines from discriminating against passengers with disabilities was established. This act was called Air Carrier Access Act. This act was passed by Congress in direct response to Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. In 1990, President Bush and Justin Dart passed a civil rights law that prohibits discrimination based on a disability and called it Americans with Disabilities Act. This act is considered the turning point for the disability rights movement. In 1992, an act was passed to promote the rights of people with disabilities regarding to housing, education, and services. This act was called the Disabilities Discrimination Act of 1992. One of the most recent acts put in place is the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. In 2014, President Obama signed the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act, which includes services for people with physical, intellectual, and development disabilities. The services are put in place to help job seekers secure the employment, education, and support systems needed to succeed. All of the events in this video have led to major growth in awareness and support for individuals with disabilities. After watching this video, you should now know a little history about the disability rights movement. I hope you enjoyed. Bye! See you next time!